The music is loud. And we're back. We're back. It is FriYay. Happy FriYay. I am 4 minutes late. 4 minutes late to the stream, and I apologize. But you know what? I was doing important work. Yes, I pressed, so I had to reassemble the studio after we went live off-site or on location. And I realized that, you know, the humming noise had to go away. I had my Apple charger too close to the mic lines. So just before pressing go, I'm like, I won't survive with the sound in my ear. It was not okay. Let me just hit the zoom. Zoomy. Okay, that's better. Good morning and happy FriYay. I am Sean Shapiro, the TikTok traffic cop, as I've been reminded is the name that I've been given by certain radio personalities, and I've stuck with it. I am here to answer your traffic and police questions, but first, we have a couple of things we have to talk about. Firstly, I said first already, we're broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and the platform formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. Doesn't roll off the tongue. Not really taking to it. But whatever, it is what it is. If you're watching on any platform other than X, you can simply ask questions and we will see them because we have my wife who's helping as the magical moderator of the day and this week because JD's on vacation and that's something apparently he's allowed to do. Anyway, so thank you to my wife for doing that because we need the support. Neha says, happy FriYay. Neha in Smart Space wants to know about pocket knives. We'll talk about that in a minute. But everybody else, and I see a whole bunch of people, we'll talk about, let's just go into it. Stephen Bell says, good morning and happy FriYay. Akela Draconis says, greetings and salutations. That's his signature, hello. Happy FriYay. I'll be here just gaming. No kidding. Okay, Zombie is in the house. We have the happy Friday, everyone, from my wife, who's the moderator, like I said. We have Evandro, who is he says, my Brazilian fan is watching again. Much appreciated. What is this? Michael says, what sound can Sean not live with M? I don't get it. I often don't get it. It's okay. So we have a question from Evandro. We'll get to that. And we got our pocket knives legal. First two questions on the board. My wife says we have to go visit Brazil. I think we do. We have lots of friends from Brazil, and of course churrascaria. That's something that I'm a big fan of, and I believe it all started out like there. The concept that, anyway, it's about food. Let's start with Vision Zero because I was live yesterday and I think I totally forgot, or I forgot until much later on in the show. So I don't want to make that mistake twice. No, Vision Zero is a group of dedicated officers. They are out to change driver behavior one ticket at a time, and they do that by focusing on driver behaviors that lead to serious injury and death. They focus on speeding, distracted driving, aggressive driving, and impaired driving. I said those kind of out of order, at least for my regular order. And they do it with zest. No, they're really good at it. Oddly enough, there's a lot of people breaking the law on the roads and a lot of people getting tickets. It's nice that you give people opportunities to succeed. You know, it's nice that these people are trying to give us tickets to write so we look good. But the truth is we'd rather not write tickets, not because we don't write tickets. We don't want to write tickets because we want there to be no one breaking the law so we don't have to write tickets. Don't make us write tickets.
Technique called behavioral cloning.
What on earth is going on?
Called behavioral cloning. I named it the test cart. The test cart's equipped with 3 Logitech C920 webcams. All 3 cameras are used.
Why is my computer playing audio? What on earth is going on here? I don't know where that audio came from. Hang on.
Our wheelchair.
Where is this? I would very much like to know where that audio is coming from.
The Arduino reads the potentiometer value.
Hang on. Where's that audio coming from? I think that's coming from Instagram. It is coming from Instagram. I'm going to end that stream, and maybe that's Instagram just started sharing. That's weird. Okay. Try that again. Going live again on Instagram. It's so odd. Anyway, that's nothing like completely, just going rogue and transmitting weirdness. What is that? Why? Why did it happen? I do not know. It just goes on my list of why I dislike Instagram. It's because I dislike Instagram. Sorry, Instagram. Well, not sorry, but not sorry. All right, back to things that matter. So, the things that matter are, I just closed all my windows. Hang on. I got to tell you where Vision Zero actually is. Here we go. I like it when we're live and things don't go to plan, because then it just shows you how live we are. You know? Loading. Come on. Yeah, there we go. So today they are in 14 Division and 41 Division, Christie, Ossington, Annex, Little Italy, Dorset Park, Kennedy Park, Birchcliff, Cliffside, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play, and deserve to be safe. All right, let's get back into it and completely ignore all other platforms that don't. Well, I'm not going to ignore. If you happen to be on, the Instagram, we still love you. But you could go on to other platforms that are simply better. I don't know. I don't understand. Okay, flagging some more questions. Wrong turn at Albuquerque? Sao Paulo. Okay. Awesome. Evandro's coming with if we go to Brazil. He's all over it. Okay. The reason the question didn't come together for Michael was because of what sound can Sean not live with? Oh, okay. Now I get it. Today is Truth and what is it? National Truth and Reconciliation Day. I just want to acknowledge that. I don't have an orange uniform shirt. Maybe we should get some issued. That would be cool. But I know that my kids are doing Orange Shirt Day. Everyone's doing Orange Shirt Day, and I feel left out. I was looking for a ribbon or something that I could have worn. I could not find one in time to go live, so it did not happen. But I acknowledge what's going on today. Let's see here. Ooh, we got lots of weapons questions, or maybe it's the same person asking more knife questions. We'll talk about that. Live and not live, live and not live, live. I don't know. Here we go. Tim Shallow says, "Good morning, Sean. Happy Friday." We got a question here. Okay, let's jump into the questions, and we'll start moving this show on. We'll get the show on the road. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay, so we'll start with Evandro's question, because it was technically first. If I have a car with only 2 seats, can I take a baby with me, for example, a pickup truck or a work van? So there's no law that states that you have to have a child in a particular spot. It has to be a spot, or they have to be in the proper child restraint based on their age and weight and so on. So they have to have the right seat. Their seat has to be properly installed. If you're capable of properly installing it in the location where you are going to use it, then you can use it. But front seat, back seat, no back seat. Obviously, we would prefer back seat till 14 years old. Yes, 14 years old. But if you have no back seat, you have no option. You wouldn't be charged for it, but you have to acknowledge that it's not the best option. And are pocket knives legal? Pocket knives are tools. Pocket knives are cutlery. Pocket knives are a lot of things. If you have a pocket knife for the purposes of self-defense or to use as a weapon, and you're now concealing it, if it's a weapon because you say it's a weapon, it's a weapon. If you say it's not a weapon because you use it for peeling apples, well, you're not using it and intending to use it for that purpose. And you see where I'm going? It really depends. A tactical folder versus a Swiss Army knife. What do you use this for? Pocket knives are not prohibited. There are knives that are prohibited. Gravity knives, balisongs, butterfly knives, switchblades, things like that are absolutely prohibited. So it depends on what you're carrying, what you're talking about, and why you're carrying it. Hope that answers your question. Okay, we talked about Albuquerque. It was just a comment in jest. What is this? All right, it's a follow-up question. This is the other weapons question. Are we allowed to keep any weapons in our vehicles legally? Firearms and airsoft guns included. So firearms, no. We're on. I don't know where you are. In Ontario, Canada, and we're in Canada actually across the board, you really can't stock up on weapons and roll around with them. Airsoft guns are airsoft guns, and they are toys that are also easily misunderstood or misidentified as weapons. They do have a projectile situation where you can shoot at people, but you're going to end up getting arrested at a gunpoint if you're waving one of those around. Because we don't know it's not a gun until we identify and confirm that it's not a gun. You're going to cause panic. So there's charges that can come from that. If you're transporting airsoft gun or firearms, do it according to the law. Airsoft guns, not so much that there's specific transportation laws, but put it in the trunk, put it in a case, put it so you're not panicking or causing panic. Firearms have very specific laws about transportation. Restricted and unrestricted have different laws. Know what they are before you go. When it comes to weapons in general, like there are weapons that are identified as weapons, but you're going to drive around carrying weapons? Why? What's going on? This is obviously not a traffic specific question, but there are weapons that are controlled. There are weapons that are not. There's things that could become a weapon of opportunity. Your keys. If you punch someone with a key, you're using it as a weapon. If you planned and you carry it for that purpose, it's a weapon. Moving on. I think I've covered it. I don't know what you're looking for as an answer. Yeah. If an officer writes a ticket, let's see here. If an officer writes a ticket for front window tint, can they cut a chunk out of it as evidence? No, I don't think that's going to work. I'm going to take your license plates if you have window tint on your front windshield, because that's illegal and it's an unsafe vehicle. So I'm taking your license plates, unless you want to remove that tint. But I don't need a piece of your tint for evidence. I would not do that. If you choose not to remove the tint yourself, you're going to get towed away. If you want to drive away, I'd probably let you peel the tint off your windshield yourself. But that depends. Each officer is going to be different. But cutting a chunk out of it as evidence, I don't think flies. But maybe they know something that I don't know. Can drivers honk at you if you're wanting? What is this? Stephen Bell wants to know, can drivers honk at you if you're waiting for the red light to change to green? Is that what you're talking about? Drivers can honk all they want. They might end up getting charged for unnecessary noise. That's communication. I don't know what they want you to do at a red light. Like if you're waiting to make a right turn on a green because you don't feel comfortable making a right turn on a red, it's your prerogative. It's when you feel safe to do it, within reason. You can't just sit there all day. Yeah, that's a thing. Chase wants to know if Sergeant Campbell's joining today. I don't know. He was feeling under the weather before today, and I saw him today. He is here. He feels better, but I don't know if he will be joining me in seat number 2. So we'll find out shortly, because he'll either show up or he won't. Can I put amber lights on my car? Amber lights where? What function? What position? You can have amber headlights. Is that what you're looking to do? It depends. Can you have amber flashing lights? Is that a thing? Oh, okay. Amber is not really a restricted color. So if you wanted to have amber flashing lights as hazard lights, sure. If you're going to misuse them, we might pull you over to find out why. Like tow truck drivers that drive around with amber lights flashing. We don't know why they do it. It serves no purpose unless they're actively working at the side of the road. Driving around with amber lights just annoys people. Okay. I got you. Okay. So the Albuquerque comment was an attempt to be funny. Was scrolling TikTok when you went live. And the first went there first and said, hi, wait, something doesn't look right here. Then came here with Albuquerque. Gotcha. I don't know. I get the attempt. What happens if I don't pay my tickets? Well, it depends on what kind of tickets you're not paying. Either way, bad things happen. If you are not paying your parking tickets or paying tickets that are related to bylaw offenses or red light offenses that are written to the car's plate, not your license, well, they won't allow you to renew your license, and then they could suspend renew your license plate. They could suspend your plate. You could have problems there. If you're getting tickets against your driver's license issued to you and you don't pay them, then you're going to get your license suspended for non-payment. Interesting statement from Zombie. We'll talk about that in a second. So there you go. If you don't pay, bad things happen. Flagging a bunch of stuff. Tickets in New York. Okay, we'll talk about that. I don't have an answer about the. So Chase really wants Sergeant Campbell to show up because he wants to know about it's the follow-up question from previous live. Public utility vehicle with flashing red lights. What is that? I'll text him. I'm going to text him and see if he wants to come by. If he's available, What a good idea. This technology thing is so cool. I could text people. Not that Murray, different Murray. This Murray. Have a question. If you're joining from the audience, we'll see if he knows it's from Chase. If you have time to join the show. Okay, text away. I'm even moving my bag off the chair in anticipation for the maybe joining. I had a lot of gear I had to move around. Where do I move if I move? Oh, the way I've got it set up. I have to rearrange my cameras. All right. Sorry, I'm entertaining myself at the moment. Can I put my expired license plate in my legal e-bike just for fashion? Why? Why would you do that? No, those are not motor vehicle plates. Those are plates unauthorized for that vehicle, and you could find yourself being charged, I imagine. It's misusing it. It's not just for fashion. That plate doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the Ministry of Transportation, and you'd be misusing it. At least that's how I would see it. And that's how I would plan to write tickets for it. I don't think anyone's ever done that, in e-bikes in particular. But if you put it on any other motor vehicle, it would be a serious problem. I would think that you're still going to have a problem if you do it on an e-bike. Okay, prosecutor questions. Chase thinks that all vehicles should have town and country horns. And I think you're talking about the big bull horns off the front of the hood, like Dukes of Hazzard's Boss Haas. Okay, let's get to some flagged questions. If you get charged for dangerous driving, does your car get towed? Also, do you go to jail or you just get a ticket with a court date? Dangerous driving, you could potentially be released at the scene. I don't believe there's an ADLS suspension for dangerous driving. But I imagine most dangerous driving is probably going to come with a stunt charge, which is going to end up with you having your vehicle impounded. But I don't think dangerous driving on its own does. Hey, perfect timing. We have questions for you. Well, there's two questions. Now I got a new question because Michael L., not the other Michael, but a new Michael, wants to know if you get charged for dangerous driving. Also, just a message from the moderator: please stop spamming. No spam. Spam is for the meat in the can for sandwiches, but not for anything else.
Spam.
I've never actually eaten spam.
Can you turn my headphones?
Yes, headphones. Is it better?
Nope.
Is it better?
That's better.
Okay, you're in channel 3.
I'm here.
So, if you get charged for dangerous driving, do you get towed? Is there ADLS suspensions related to, or an impound related to dangerous driving?
To dangerous driving? No.
I didn't think so.
But it could be part of your release. There'd be a condition on there that you not operate a motor vehicle. So at the roadside, if you're arrested and taken away, what do we do with your car?
Oh, we would impound it for.
We would impound it for
yes.
for a period of time until somebody with a proper driver's license, could be you or could be somebody else, can come pick it up.
If we're actually taking you in for it, as opposed to releasing you roadside.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's also, and it may be in relation to an additional charge of stunt, which
Right.
would then come with the ADLS.
So the answer to your question is?
Maybe. Depends.
So there's no statutory amount of time that it gets impounded for, but you may not be able to drive it. Depends.
Now, a question, this is from Chase from yesterday or the day before, and it is, do we know what the public utility vehicle with flashing red lights is? Because if you read the section about pulling over for an emergency vehicle,
Yep.
it also includes a public utility vehicle with flashing reds.
Yes, it does.
What vehicle is that?
So I've seen them on the 407. They have their own public utility vehicles. I have seen municipalities, they have flashing red lights, but they're on the back. So you have to pull over for them. They'd be included in an emergency vehicle, first responder vehicle, because they're there to fix the road. You'd have to slow down, move over for them.
Well, that's a slow down move. But how do you see them coming if they're coming up behind you?
So they're allowed to have flashing red lights.
In the front?
No, in the rear.
Okay.
Like
you
we
go
are.
backwards?
So when you're approaching from the rear.
But when you're approaching.
But they can't pull people over.
No, and that's why it was weird. So it's just something that Chase brought to my attention. I'd never really paid attention to that section. And it was, let me pull it up just so we can review it. I'm going to do that. Highway traffic.
Let me have a look.
Pull over, fail to What was it? What was it, Chase? Fail to...
He's not going to answer you.
Why not? I expect the voice.
Not verbally, anyways.
He used to send me voice stuff all the time. When we had that amazing volley app, was it fail to pull to right? Pull over? Pull.
That's for emergency vehicle only. Look, everybody's tuned in to watch our bald heads. Look down
It's fail to stop nearest curb for emergency vehicle. And that's where it says public utility emergency vehicle. So what's a public utility emergency vehicle? That's where it says fail to stop nearest curb for emergency vehicle. So that's still covered. That's why it's weird. And we're trying to figure out what that would be. Thank you for staring at our foreheads.
Yeah. You know what? Let's find out.
I'll let you search that while I look at some other stuff, and we'll circle back. Unless you want me to search something else while you're searching.
No, keep going.
Okay. Zombie will be getting I'll come back to Evandra's question, but the Zombie's getting a tattoo on Tuesday, and she'll be watching the show while getting tattooed. What's the tattoo of? That's the obvious next question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like a Toronto Police logo, a driver's license number? What would you get? Okay, maybe those aren't good ideas. I don't have any tattoos. I have no frame of reference. I wouldn't know what to choose. Can I drive through a truck weigh station to bypass traffic? Sounds like a bad idea.
Is there a sign?
Is there a sign prohibiting entry? This is a very good question. I don't know because I don't go into bypass or weigh stations. I think that someone somewhere would have a problem with that. And I'm assuming there's going to be signs, but we're going to have to look into that and come back to you.
So I'm not sure if I've seen a sign that prohibits people from driving through. So is it part of the roadway or is it off the roadway? There's an off ramp that leads into the area.
Mm-hmm.
It's managed by the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a ramp that leads back on again. Each one of those is considered a ramp part of the highway. So would you be traveling through there causing danger to somebody who may be walking through?
Yeah.
Do you know the rules of going through? Do you know what lane to be in?
I imagine that this is something you shouldn't do unless you know you're supposed to be there, because otherwise you're looking for potential problems.
Absolutely. There are traffic signals that commercial motor vehicles have to abide by going through those lanes. And if you don't know what they are, because they're different from the regular traffic signals, you could find yourself in trouble.
And that's the whole thing about the pens. They're not just undergarments,
Yep.
Disposable ones. Underglow won't have blue or red, just solid color. So the question I'm assuming is, are they legal? And there's no specific underglow law, other than the fact that they're not really in fashion anymore. That was an 80s and 90s thing, and they were better off left in that era. But if they're not red and they're not blue and they don't project outwards and they don't aren't visible from the front or back or side, like if it's just illuminating the ground, it still depends, because it depends on the interpretation of the officer. Sergeant Campbell and I, don't see exactly the same way on it. I see if it's not projecting outward and only illuminating the ground beneath your vehicle, not a big deal. But he says if you can see the light, it's illuminating enough that I can see it. It's illuminating, and that's projecting light forward. So I might not write the ticket, but he might, which means you might be defending yourself in court, depending on the officer you get.
Yeah, and it would be up to me to justify why I did that. And I think I have a pretty good point of view. If I stood in front of the vehicle or was approaching the vehicle and could see it, obviously the light's coming forward.
Yeah, and then it becomes a trier of fact. You get to decide whether or not you win or lose. And at that point, you've wasted a lot of time and money, and it's just not worth it. So if you're standing in a parking lot, you're showing off your car, and you have it installed and you see it and it's there, great. If you're driving on the road, it's really not a good idea. And it's just going to draw attention, and not good attention for you, because it's probably going to be a police officer pulling you over to have a conversation.
You know what? They're fantastic. Underglow is actually pretty good. They call them rock crawler lights for off-roading in the dark. You'll be able to see out the side of your vehicle, but it's definitely not made for use on the road. Unless
you have a DeLorean and it's really low, then it looks like it's floating. It's just, I don't know. Depends on the car. But the off-road ones are a real problem, because that's a very high vehicle, and the likelihood of you projecting light outward from the bulb itself is very high, which would be a higher likelihood of you getting pulled over. If you're very low and it's a faint glow, I personally don't have much of an issue with it, but it all depends. Like, your bulbs should not. I've seen some really shoddy installations where the bulbs are are visible. Well, obviously they're projecting outward at that point. And red and flashing and blue and green are restricted colors. You're not left with very much. So bad idea. If you were given a ticket, this is sorry, Evandro, I clicked on it, then I clicked away and didn't click back until now. If you're given a ticket in New York or another state in the United States of America, you were saying normally informed Canada about that, and Canada informed USA about American having tickets here. We have a reciprocal agreement with Michigan and New York. And so those two states are going to automatically get updated. But in Florida too?
Florida as well.
Oh, I didn't know that was an official one. We have so many Floridian or snowbirds, Canadians in Florida. That makes a lot of sense. But any state could, with the joy of the internet, anyone could get this information. I don't think this is a highly restricted thing that we only let certain people look at it.
And definitely for criminal stuff, for impaired driving, stuff like that, there's an automatic exchange of information.
Did you know? Well, you knew, but did you know that you can be denied access to at the border to the United States for a criminal conviction? So impairment is one of those things. You have charges, criminal charges before the courts. I think they can deny you entry for that as well. They don't want you to come, and actually it's the other way around too. You can be denied entry into Canada for the same thing. A lot of people don't realize how serious that is. That's why so many people fight these tickets and criminal charges, because they don't want to be denied the ability to travel. It does change your life. Matthew wants you to ask the Winnipeg Police Department to bring back their TikTok. I would love for all police to be on TikTok. It's not, social media in general is a big commitment. To post and ghost, or to post once in a while, doesn't really provide the level of engagement that you deserve. And a lot of agencies have identified that they don't have the resources available to commit to doing it every day like we do. So there's also issues with, they may not have the technology to do what we're doing right now, which is not going through TikTok, but going through an RTMP feed, so that we're not risking any issues with possible security concerns that some government groups have raised. So it's a big ask, but I would totally support that we bring back the Winnipeg Police Department, and all other police departments should be on TikTok too, because it's a party. It's a good fun place.
TikTok too?
TikTok too. After 2 years of request for the prosecutor and no contact from court, is a case dropped? If you have asked for this, I would still contact the courts and not assume that it's gone. Sadly, you may be driving, you may have been convicted and not know it. If you're just waiting for a piece of mail, maybe there was an address or mailing issue, and they've determined that you're guilty, and you are now suspended for non-payment. Like a lot of bad stuff for just waiting and not following up. There's an obligation on your end to actually do some legwork and confirm. So totally do that. Contact the courts.
Yep, go into the courthouse, talk to the administrative staff there, and have them look up your case.
But generally speaking, you're probably, if it's the last 2 years, you may have been caught up in a lot of cases being withdrawn because of the what's it called? COVID, because of the pandemic. There's quite a lot of cases that are being withdrawn, but you would be notified of that, and you'd probably be in court present when it happens. Probably.
Yeah, probably. But you never know.
But you never know. Questions about M1 and M2 requirements. And hopefully, again, don't spam. If you ask questions, our magical moderator is going to ask us the question on your behalf, and we are going to get there as many people as we can. But if you continuously ask the same question and spam the chat, we are going to specifically exclude you from the chances of being answered. But the question that's been forwarded to us as a sidebar is, what are the requirements of an M1 and an M2? And I think what you mean is the conditions, the restrictions of an M1 and M2. So M1, M2, G1, G2, very similar. G is for automobiles and most light vehicles. M is for motorcycles. And the biggest one, or where they change, we'll start with M1. M1 means you can drive a motorcycle alone, because you can't take passengers. In fact, no passengers is a specific condition. You can do that a half an hour before sunup, a half an hour after sundown. No roads that are speed limits over 80 kilometers an hour. And that, except there's a couple that are exempt from that. If you live in a community where you have no other access but to be on that road, then that would be an exemption. What else is there? No alcohol, no BAC, or zero BAC, zero drugs, no alcohol in your blood.
Yep.
What else?
You said no passengers as well.
No passengers, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else for the M1. M2, it's a zero BAC. That's it. You're basically a probationary rider. You have all the privileges to go anywhere with your license, even into other provinces and other countries, but you must maintain the conditions. Now, And M2, I don't think there's any conditions between midnight and 5 a.m. Oh, M1, there's no, well, you can't do it, you can't ride at night. But I was going to say G1 is between 5 a.m., midnight and 5 a.m. You can't ride or drive. That's a
G1 vehicle, but on a motorcycle, it's
half hour
sunset
before
and sunrise.
Yeah. And the reason it's half hour before and half hour after is as the sun's coming up and as the sun's going down, you're giving that slight get home time. When we talk about G1, you are restricted. You cannot ride. Obviously, no alcohol. Nobody can be in the front seat except your supervising driver, which is a G-class driver with a full G and 4 years experience. That has to be acknowledged by way of having 4 dots vertically appeared. Michael calls them freckles, so we call them freckles too now. And that is the indication on your license that you're a qualified supervisor. You cannot have anybody other than that supervisor in the front seat. So if you were in a pickup truck and there was room in the middle between you, that is not a place that you can put a passenger. And that's really it. Same 80 kilometers, no highways or expressways. Anything else on that one?
Well, it's just an interesting one. Did you know that if you have a Class M or a Class M2, it qualifies you to drive the same vehicles as a Class G1?
Yes, you get G1 status when you. I didn't know with an M1. I thought it was with an M or an M2.
M2.
Oh, okay. I think you said M1. Okay, no. M or M2. Cool. Yeah, I did know that. It is one of those cool things that if you are a motorcycle rider, you actually get some privileges, like being able to actually get out there without a supervisor and drive. Because who would risk their life to be on the back of your bike? But that's a lot of freedom. That whereas a G1 driver is stuck trying to coordinate somebody. So if you wanted to be independent very quickly, an M1's a great way to do it.
Yeah. Although M1 insurance is tough to get.
Yes.
From what I understand.
I did it, obviously. It's possible to do, but you might be paying a big premium.
Yeah, I did it as well, but that was back in the day when
things were different.
Yes, it was called a 90-day learner's permit back then, and insurance was cheaper back then.
Was it a 90-day permit?
Yep. It was a 90-day and a 365.
The 365,
365 was your learner for the vehicle, and a 90-day was your learner for a motorcycle.
Yes. Can police commandeer your vehicle? I'm changing the words, but can police take someone's car in case of emergency? Is that something we can do?
There's no statute says we can do it, but in an emergency, yeah, I wouldn't do it.
I don't want the liability.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was really a life or death situation, could we?
Then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we'll do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But it's not something that, like, what kind of emergency are we talking about? Like, I got to go pee?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Someone wants to know what I think of the Barrie police. I don't really have it. They're police. I've never really dealt with the Barrie police. I know some Barrie police officers, very nice people. They've got some new car paint job. I don't know how I feel about that, but
yeah, that Barrie and Coburg both have new car paint.
Very European.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Barrie Police, you know what? We work in conjunction with all police services, not only across the province, but across the country and in the U.S. as well. So Barrie police are in charge of policing the area that they're paid to police. We don't get paid to do that. That's their responsibility, but we do work in conjunction with them.
Michael wants to make sure that no one injures any Winnipeg Police Service members just to get them into a media role. He's making sure that nobody gets into a crash on purpose to get into a media. Yeah, don't do that. Which police department is the highest paid in Canada? I have no idea. I don't. A lot of people are really into money. I mean, money is important. You got to pay your bills, but I'm not so into money that I check anyone else's money. If I get a raise, I get a raise. If there's a contract negotiation, I'm interested to know what we get, but I find out when they get it. I don't much care otherwise, because it doesn't change anything. They can get more money than me, and it's not.
What I can say is the cost of living in Toronto, I'm going to tell you, is higher than probably anywhere else in the province, other than maybe some remote locations up north. So do we deserve more? Well, it costs more to do the job here.
But we don't necessarily get more.
But we don't get it.
In fact, I think most are within a very small margin, very, very similarly paid. And when cost of living is much, much lower elsewhere, that means I get to keep less of the money that I make than maybe somebody living outside of this area.
Yeah.
Now I'm all upset.
There you go. Yep. Who's the dumb ones here? That's us.
Oh well, I've had people from the OPP, doing some recruiting discussions, saying, "Hey, you can go fishing and sledding and all this great stuff, and you get paid the same, but your cost of living is half." And like, that sounds really good, but it doesn't say Toronto on your uniform, so I can't go there. At what age can you take a child into a booster seat? Now you're making me work. If you go to trafficcop.ca, there is a link that brings you to the page that breaks that all down.
Move a child into a booster seat, as opposed to a normal question is, when can my child come out of a booster seat?
Yes. But I do happen to have that link pulled up, so I can see how fast that is. If you go to trafficcop.ca, it just works so nice.
There you go.
And then this is the page that you would come to. So forward-facing child seat. Booster seat is they have to be under the age of 8, 18 to 36 kilos, or 40 to 80 pounds.
But they must not meet the criteria of an infant, a baby, or a toddler.
Right. So it's the 18 to 36 kilos, whereas a toddler is 9 to 18 kilos.
Right.
And that's the big. So this gives you the breakdown. And then once they are over 4'9", over 8 years old, or more than 80 pounds, they are capable of being out of a car seat, out of a booster, into the seat on its own. However, that doesn't mean it's the safest option. If they are a petite 8-year-old, they may do very well to stay in a booster seat longer. It's for their benefit. It's a safety thing. And backseat is best. Yes. Here, since we mentioned OPP, is it true that an OPP officer cannot ticket you inside of a city? That is absolutely false. That is 100% false. Whoever told you was lying to you or was very misinformed.
And guess what? We can ticket you anywhere as well.
Yes, we are police officers sworn in the province of Ontario. We can go anywhere in the province of Ontario. Not that we would. We focus as Toronto police officers in the city of Toronto. That's where we're paid to work. But if we happen to be somewhere else, we see you doing something, not only are we obligated in criminal matters, but we would do things because that's the right thing to do, and that's what we're all about.
Yep, absolutely.
Whether you're on vacation, like if you were anywhere, we are police officers 24/7. And I can tell you that even when I'm not a police officer, when I'm out of the country, when I'm out of the province, if I see something, I'm still going to be the best witness and help people because that's who I am. It's part of it's. I signed up for this. It's not just a job; it's a calling. It's something that I care about, that I'm passionate about. If I see someone in need, I'm going to be helping, which is kind of, it really ruins other people's days. Like, but we want to go to the zoo. No, but somebody needs help. We're pulling over. We recently had a collision. We were on our way somewhere, driving with the family. Collision. Somebody had some blood. We pulled over. Police weren't there. Ambulance weren't there. They were blocking 2 lanes. So, Mom was ready to call 911, and we did what we had to do, which was really just calm people down, tell them what happened. Got on the phone with dispatch and convey information, and accurate information is really important, because when people are panicking at the side of the road, very often they're not making a lot of sense. We were able to help them. We stood by until police arrived, and you know what? It's a good example. It's a good thing to do, and everyone was very happy that we did it.
Good for you.
Police are not. I think helping people is just a good thing. Okay. Suron on the street asked. So a Suron is an electric motorcycle. It is not an e-bike. It does not meet the requirements to be an e-bike, despite many people saying it does. If you read the spec sheet, it has I keep wanting to say gigawatt, or from Back to the Future, but it is a 12.1 megawatt motor. It is capable of doing speeds of 80 kilometers an hour, if I'm not mistaken, and it is by no means an e-bike that would be street legal. So if you were pulled over by me, I would be charging you for drive motor vehicle. That is not the question I want to put on screen. You'd be pulled over for a whole bunch and charged with a whole bunch of things, from drive motor vehicle, no insurance, unregistered, unsafe, unlicensed, like the list goes on.
Now, does the Suron actually have a Transport Canada approval to be registered as a motor vehicle, as a electric motorcycle?
Depending on, I understand that you can register some models as motorcycles because they're designed to be motorcycles. Other ones are off-road motorcycles or off-road pleasure devices. I don't know what would you call a dirt bike that isn't a dirt bike? But they're not street legal.
Right. But I do know that there are electric motorcycles, 100% street legal, can be registered, can be insured, and can be operated on the road the same as a regular motorcycle, a gas-powered motorcycle would be. And some major manufacturers are making these, not just import ones, but Harley Davidson has a has electric motorcycle. Pretty neat one too.
Yes, although I'm not sure I could. I don't know.
Doesn't have the Harley sound, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, the no sound. Do you play it out of a speaker? I'm assuming this has popped up because a moderator has put this on the screen. So it's an important question. If my dad's license got suspended for medical reasons, can I or any of my siblings drive his car? If the vehicle is insured, if the driver is licensed, then yes, that would be absolutely legitimate.
Well, unless there's a age limitation or some limitation in your insurance agreement or your dad's insurance agreement that you have with a private company that says you cannot drive it.
And that's it.
But for us, would we give you a ticket? No. Would you be covered? Maybe.
The basic liability would likely cover it, but they would probably deny any claim that you would be asking for if you were excluded. And a big thing here is age, or if you live with that parent. So you should be, and just in general, you want to be added on the insurance policy, or at very least confirm with the insurance policy what your intention is and get an answer from them, because after something happens, it's a little too late and you're going to be in a bad spot. Okay, here's a question. We're going sort of out of order. How do I get TPS to start ticketing people parked on Main Road during no park stop time? If you go to tps.ca, on the website, you can make immediate parking complaints, and parking enforcement will be dispatched based on those complaints. So you can do that. TPS.ca can do a lot of different things. Fill out the form. You can also call in, but it's much more efficient to use the online form. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Why are you guys so concerned with people liking cars when there are people committing actual crimes? Liking cars is not a crime. We like cars. I assume you mean modifying cars into illegal status. Like you modify a vehicle so it's no longer safe on the road, or you drive it in such a way that you're putting people in harm's way, or you're breaking a law. People die and people get hurt, and bad things happen, and communities are negatively impacted. Even a noisy exhaust hurts someone. It may not be hurting them physically. I mean, they can't sleep, they can't eat, things are happening because their lives are being impacted, because their communities are being disturbed. So all these things have an impact. It may just not be one that you want to acknowledge or feel is, legitimate.
Actual crimes, that kind of gets me. It kind of bugs me that somebody would think that there's actual crimes and really not actual crimes. The laws are created, first of all, to protect everybody and everybody in general. But the laws are created and put into force because somebody did it somewhere that caused an outcome that hurt somebody. So is it a crime? Well, yeah, if it's against the law, it's a crime.
And in addition to that, it's just because it's not important to you doesn't make it not important. What I find very interesting is the number of people that are killed annually as a result of motor vehicle collisions tends to be more than those as a result of violent crime. It's neither neck and neck or with only a few numbers, but we tend to be more. I actually now have to look to see what last year was, but if you think about that all the people that are injured in collisions, and I know modifying your car doesn't necessarily cause a collision, but it contributes to unsafe stuff and things, whether it's because you're going faster because you modified it or you're making more noise. All these things have an impact, and you may not be directly hurting somebody in that moment, but it could lead to it. It's all part of the same package. So we focus on traffic safety because we're the traffic guys, but at the same, hey, traffic guys, we could have a new show. But it's not less important. There's somebody being impacted by it. And the people who may be involved in some of these other crimes may or may not be involved in a lifestyle. Like you could have people that are totally walking down the street and get shot, and you get people who are having a shootout because they're both bad guys or girls or people or things. So I think traffic, everyone gets touched by traffic. Doesn't matter if you walk, drive, or roll, or whatever your mode of transportation. If you are out of your house and you're walking anywhere, you're involved in traffic. So anyway, that's my thing.
What he said.
In my very oopsie doopsie. Are OPP higher ranked than TPS? Some of them who have ranks that are higher. Rank is within the organization. as police officers. Well, how does that work? We have PCs, we have sergeants, we have superintendents, we have all the same ranks basically.
I think what they're saying is OPP more important than TPS? Or, have more credit. So the OPP are a police service that polices the entire province in the municipalities where they're paid to police. And the Toronto police polices within the city of Toronto because we get paid to police here. They're no higher, they're not lower, they're not any different. We're all police officers. We all follow the same Police Services Act rules. We all enforce the same laws, other than bylaws.
But there are times when we argue about jurisdiction. This is my case, that is your case, and there are times when, I think we spend a lot of time trying to make sure we give it to somebody else.
Well, sometimes we do that. Or if it's like me, I'm like, no, this is mine. Leave it alone. This is mine. I'll figure this out.
I'm doing that very thing. I was just reminded that I'm sitting here flagging a whole bunch of questions, trying to, because we had so many come in over a short period of time, they moved down. So I'm not ignoring your questions if I haven't gotten to yours. Let me go through these and try and get to them here. So first of all, Zombie is getting her son's name on a tattoo. That's what we're doing. We're not doing and of course the entire traffic light song lyrics. It makes sense. I understand why you do that. The traffic part. Your kid, I don't know. We talk about this already. Okay, what if I drive without a license and no insurance? What are the consequences? So if you are driving without a license, you're actually driving without insurance as well, because no insurance company is going to insure you. But let's say that you just had an uninsured vehicle. What are the consequences? Well, if you own that vehicle or you're in charge of that vehicle, you're driving a motor vehicle or permitting it to be driven, and that is a fine or a charge that comes with a $5,000 to $25,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail on the first conviction. The driving without a license, if you've never been licensed or if you just don't have one, $350 ticket, I think, for
around there. Yep.
At least that's the face value of it. It could be higher if it goes to court.
And you don't get to drive away.
This is true. So
your car's gone too.
Yeah, it's going to get towed away. You're going to pay for that. What else would there be? I think that's primarily it, unless you've also crashed or done anything else.
And then try and get insurance when you actually do get a license. Going to be probably next to impossible unless you have lots of money.
Sadly, if they're already doing this, I don't think they care. That's the sad part. Is it legal to have a PA system in your car? Yes, not a siren system, but a PA system. My CB radio used to have a PA system to it, and I'd be on at high school going, "Hello, why are you here? Stop, move away from my car." I was silly like that. So you'd hide under the dash and make noises, fart sounds. Okay, but using it could be unnecessary noise. It could be unnecessary noise. It could be all sorts of things. So it depends. Your use of it could be an abuse and could lead to charges.
Yeah, it's not unlawful to have, but the way you use it definitely could change things.
What's this? Thin White Line Interceptor, a.k.a. Ryan, has a question. Says, "Happy FriYay, Mr. Shapiro and Sergeant Soup. Are police actively trying to push for stiffer penalties for traffic infractions? People aren't getting the message." Listen, I talk about it all the time. I think we need much higher penalties, and the police services do sit on committees and discuss these things, and we have the chiefs of police associations who basically represent their police services and speaking with government law and lawmakers. I think that there is discussion along those lines.
But I got to say, we are only one portion of the whole justice system. Mm-hmm. We are the ones that catch the bad guys and present the evidence to the court. It is up to the court to decide within the range of allowable fines or penalties what they will assign to each person. It is up to the government to create the law to put a limitation on what is allowed and what isn't allowed for a fine or a penalty. That's not our part. We do our part. We do our part the best that we can do, and we let it up to the secondary or the other agencies to do that.
But we're consulted, and that's really what I was talking about. We're talking about all these. We're consulted, and that's when those other parties speak to. But the ultimate choice isn't ours.
Yeah.
If I get a ticket in Ontario and I live in BC with a BC driver's license, is it enforceable and do I have to pay? Yeah, they talk. And if you're suspended here, you're going to be suspended there based on the way the laws are written. If you're suspended there, you're suspended here. People often wonder about the United States. If an American comes into Canada, gets suspended in Ontario for any reason, what happens to them? Well, they may be in a different situation. They're suspended here, and they can be charged for that here. If they go away, they might be okay in the States. It really depends on how their state handles their laws. But Canada, yeah, anywhere in Canada, you're gonna get dinged. If you go to the States and get a ticket and don't pay and they suspend you, in many cases, as a Canadian traveling back into the States after that happens, you think you're okay, and they just arrest you at the side of the road. Driving laws have very different consequences in the United States. In some states, you will get arrested for speeding, like just 20 miles over the limit. You're going to jail unless you pay a bail. I know that because I know someone who went through that, and they did not think it was fun at all, oddly enough. I don't know. What are the laws on amber light use? I see a lot of them, lawn care trucks driving with them on. They should not be driving with them on. They are effectively hazard lights for when you are parked and blocking roads and doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing. But anyway, even tow truck operators should not be driving around with their lights flashing. They're just causing a visual disturbance.
You know what? Because I do the towing portion, TPS here as well, those amber lights are there to keep people safe. When there's a hazard, an actual hazard, and they're at the side of the road, they're walking around, they're doing the job. To have these trucks, including tow trucks, have them on all the time, it kind of waters down their meeting. It makes it less effective. It doesn't make people notice it if everybody's running around doing it.
We are just desensitized.
You know what? Do you see police officers, ambulances, or fire trucks running around everywhere with their lights flashing?
In some countries, yes, but not here.
Not here. And the reason why is when they're on, that means there's a reason they're on.
Yeah, pay attention. It's not an everyday thing.
Right.
Are police interested in dash camera footage in crash stop, or is that more insurance? We're absolutely interested in dash camera footage, especially in these serious collisions. If it's your footage, you're obviously going to be providing that because you want to have that third-party accurate, piece of evidence as to what happened. Because there's, each driver has their own story, and then you've got the proof because you have a camera. I wholly endorse having a dash camera in every vehicle, absolutely, without question. I wouldn't drive without one. And I have when one broke, and I waited to put the new one in, and guess what? I got into a crash. A guy rear-ended me, and that obviously it wasn't my fault. Luckily, there was no damage to my vehicle anyway. He really messed up his hood, but it could have been so much worse, and I would have not had anything to go back to. I really endorse those. Doesn't matter what you have, buy what you can afford, but get one. And we are interested. We have so many collisions where people get seriously hurt, and it's a bystanders or other uninvolved vehicle that provides us that evidence. So it's great. Just a reminder, there's 2 more minutes until the end of the show. I'm not going to run away right after. I've got a few minutes to try and catch up some of those backlogged questions, but there won't be new questions coming in, or at least we won't be answering the new ones. They're time-stamped. We'd know when they come in. Okay. Does alcohol need to be in the trunk even if you get a receipt?
So open alcohol has to be in a place, which includes the trunk, that is not accessible to the driver or any other person in the vehicle. So that is open alcohol. If it is closed alcohol in its original container with a seal unbroken, then it can remain
anywhere.
Yeah.
And I would say don't put it on your person. TikTok kids want some dad jokes. We won't forget you. We got some dad jokes. And if you had any dad jokes I'll accept after 11 a.m., by the way. It's not even the receipt. It's the factory sealed container. That's the big thing. And I often say you could put it in your pocket, but that's a bad place to put it because oddly enough, in collisions, things in your pockets might get broken. You might get stabbed by your own bottle. Bad things. But yeah, anywhere. And the same thing goes for marijuana. You have to have sealed marijuana from factory. If it's legally purchased from a legal place, factory sealed, it can be anywhere. Once it's open, however, you can't not. It has to be stored away from the driver and any other person. Yeah. We had a visa.
It can be in luggage, or it has to be inaccessible.
We had somebody driving with a marijuana cigarette or a joint over their ear while they were driving. They were pulled over for speeding, and they got charged for the storage of that marijuana. We have Dre Studios. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Good morning, guys. How are you? We're doing well. Thanks for asking. Douglas Allen says, good morning. And obviously, this is a late message, but from me responding late. But good morning. Glad I didn't miss the whole thing. No, you didn't. And just so you know, if you do miss the whole thing, it's available on YouTube for replay and as well as on Facebook. You can also go on your favorite podcasting platform. And if you search Ask a Traffic Cop, you will find all of our replays being posted there now. So you can synchronize them to your phone. You can play it through your CarPlay while you're driving around, whatever works for you. We're there. We talked about Suron already. We talked about license being suspended. Can I drive with people in the back of my cargo van? I saw the darndest thing. I saw a wood chipper pickup truck, with the crane top and the trailer, and there were two guys sleeping in the back. I saw it on Instagram.
In the back of what?
In the back of the pickup truck. They were on the bed of chipped wood.
Yep.
And sleeping while the car was driving on the 401. So cargo van, no. Everyone being transported in a vehicle must be in a seat with a seatbelt. If you have an extra space that you could put somebody between two seatbelts, and there's only one person per seatbelt, by the way, no, that would be unlawful, and they'd be eligible for a ticket. And if they were under the age of 16, the driver would be eligible for a ticket.
I remember growing up when that was actually lawful.
Yes.
And then there were some rules that you had to have your back against the back of the cab, and different rules that people thought were in existence. Now it is just absolutely not allowed. You need a seatbelt equipped position to put it in, and that includes cars that had seatbelts in the trunk, in the back of open areas like pickup trucks, like the Subaru Brat used to have a seat back there with a seatbelt in it. Made it a 4-door car.
When will POP and other police services, I think it's OPP, when will POP and other police services enforce for high beams? We do. Is it the highest priority thing we do? No. We see it, we'll deal with it. If we don't see it, it's difficult. Highways is difficult because you got to get off the highway, spin around, and go catch them the other way. But obviously, we pull people over for not using their high beams or their lighting system in general inappropriately. I used to find all sorts of impaired drivers driving with their headlights off.
Yep. It's a clue.
It's a clue. It is really. It is. Are all warrants Canada-wide? No. Very often we call them Canada-wide warrants. Or they may have a what's it called? A radius as to when they're enforceable. So they're not all Canada-wide.
Are you talking an arrest warrant?
I'm assuming that's what we're talking about.
Okay. Search warrant is in the province.
Mm-hmm.
Arrest warrant can be Canada-wide. May not be. But the returnable area. So a police service says, you know what, we want this guy to be arrested. But we're only willing to travel,
100 kilometers.
300 kilometers, 500 kilometers to come get it. The more serious the crime, the more serious the radius, or the bigger the radius that a police service would be willing to travel to pick him up.
So yes, the warrant could be activated or actioned anywhere. They're all active when you pull someone up. It'll show there's a warrant. And what I was referring to is the radius so Canada-wide warrant will return anywhere in Canada.
So I remember stopping somebody before. I'd stopped this guy previously as well. And he came out right away and says, by the way, I have a warrant out for my arrest, and it's from Northern Ontario. And then they'll never come down to get me. And I went, okay, you know what? I still have to check. I'm going to place you under arrest for the time being. I'm going to put you in my car. I'm going to check and see if they will come back and return the warrant.
And sure enough.
And guess what? Apparently, you had been stopped enough times. There was enough phone calls. They finally said, yep, you know what? We are going to send officers down to pick you up.
Good on him.
And he was shocked. I was shocked.
But hey, it happens once in a while. Some of those will work.
Absolutely.
Stephen wants to know if your drivers can honk it when you need to turn right, but the sign says no right turn on red. So you're waiting for the green, and they want to honk at you because they don't understand what the street sign means. They're honking at you because they're frustrated, but they're not right. And could they be charged with unnecessary noise? Sure.
Honking out of frustration? Yeah, no.
Yeah, honking should be
honking
reserved.
to notify you of a hazard or you're doing something wrong, or that's what it's there for.
It's different. Why do you give tickets on orange lights? Because orange or amber means stop, unless it's unsafe to do so. And what I see time and time again is people accelerating to make that last minute squeeze into the amber. Oh, but I made it before it turned red, so I'm okay. No. It's a ticket. It comes with demerit points. Don't do it. It's unsafe. You shouldn't be in such a rush that couple of minutes makes a difference. Leave early. Don't do stupid things behind the wheel to get yourself into collisions or buy tickets. You're buying the ticket. It's for sale. You choose to do the thing that qualifies for its purchase. We'll take your payments. I will be. Radek says I will be completing my college degree in the spring. What advice or consideration would you offer to individuals who are in the process of selecting the police service for employment? There are a lot of police services. They're all looking for people. North America wide. We hear about this. We were just talking to somebody from Missouri who was talking about the fact that they're paying a signing bonus for people to come from other states and other cities to come to their service. At the end of the day, learn about the service you want to move into, learn about the community and what their needs are, because every community is going to have different policing needs. Some areas look really nice and have really bad drug problems. You're going to be dealing with drugs all the time. A friend of mine moved worked at Toronto Police for years, moved to another city further west, and he found that they don't have bank robberies, they have drugstore robberies. They have different types of calls. What kind of service do you want to do? Where do you want to live? What kind of commute do you want to have? These are all things. Make a plan thinking 30 years down the road. I think that's a big thing.
A big part of my choice for Toronto Police, first of all, was, they were hiring. Back in Bob Ray days, nobody was hiring. But second of all, I can live in one area. I can get promoted and still work in the same area. I can do so many things within the city of Toronto Police. It's amazing, all the different aspects of work that you can do, all within one area. Where other police services maybe not big enough to have all those specialized units, or you have to travel the province to relocate to do that, or even travel the country.
Opportunity is a big thing. We have a traffic services unit. Not every police service has a dedicated traffic unit. Every person within the service may be doing traffic calls. They're just small services will have different types of responsibilities divided. Opportunities will be different. Like we have a tactical unit. My cousin's a copper in the States. He was a tactical guy if his pager went off. Otherwise, he was a regular guy. And you handle your calls differently, and you have to call for other services to assist you. We are for Toronto Police, we are the largest municipal police service in the country. We are the second largest police service in the country, regardless of the municipal or not. And that is pretty cool. But it means that there's lots of opportunities, but there's a lot of numbers, a lot of people, a lot of different. You can be sent anywhere. Go to the RCMP, the Mounted Police. You can be sent anywhere in Canada. Like OPP, you can go anywhere in the province. So a municipal police service, if you want to have some control as to where you're going to be positioned, a provincial police service might be good to you if you don't care. You got to look it up. You figure it out. But I'm very happy with where I am. And if you are interested in being happy where I am, you can go check out tps.ca/careers.
I do have to jump out.
See you later. Thanks for popping in.
We'll chat later.
We're going to wrap up soon, but I'm going to try and get through all the backlog. So quick thing about the Toronto Police Service, we are hiring, tps.ca/careers. You can go and get all the information about the different positions. And I haven't checked this in a while, so let's quickly check and see what we have for civilian employment opportunities. We are looking for a senior systems analyst, a communication operator. Oh, and the YIPI program is still looking for people to jump into that. So very cool. Let's see here. Does obstruct plate tickets affect your insurance? An obstruct plate ticket is a ticket. It still goes against the driver. It is considered a minor. Multiples of those could definitely be used to impact your insurance rating. It is a determination made by an insurance company as to whether or not they think that this changes their risk assessment of you. And my understanding from speaking to the Insurance Bureau of Canada, that if you are forgetting your license and not obstructing your plate, doing all these things, those are clues to them that you maybe need to pay more for insurance because you're a higher risk to them. It's not just moving violations; it's any HTA offense. And I didn't know that. For years and years, I thought it was only moving violations, and I was corrected by the Insurance Bureau of Canada. And I did a video about that recently, and people are like, "What? That's not fair." I'm like, "Well, it's not. Fair is a funny thing. Fair. What's fair? It's not fair to them that you do silly things while you drive. It's not fair to everybody else." So yeah, what's this question? The weekend is here, so people, you can drink, but please don't drink and drive. It's not just drink and drive. It's drive sober, no drugs, no alcohol. I just put up a video before going live. 21 21 people arrested last weekend. Don't become one of the statistics. Take a bus, take a plane, take a train, take a Uber, take a bicycle, or just be responsible with your alcohol. Interesting thing, I interviewed someone from SmartServe, and did you know that a bar is not legally permitted to serve you to the point of intoxication? Did you know that? It's not actually lawful to go out and get drunk. Having a few drinks is different than getting drunk. Getting served to the point of intoxication is not legal, and they're responsible for you, and that's why they don't do it. That's why you get cut off. Will they suspend your license for having a red light camera ticket paid late? They may suspend your plate so that you cannot renew your license plate, but your license itself is not going to be suspended. How do search warrants work? That is a very long and involved question. But essentially, we would apply to a court to the right to search or for the authority to search your premise for the purposes of finding a particular thing that we think you have. It's not we're going to search your house and go fishing. We think that you have this thing. We're going to write an application for a warrant that says, because of A, B, and C, we think this person is, has this particular thing on their premise. Thus, we are looking for the authority to do that, and they would either issue an approval or not. That's it. I think it's the easy peasy answer, unless you're looking for something different. Then you have to let me know. Okay, scrolling through looking for things that I have ignored or missed or otherwise. And I apologize if it's something that I missed. I don't find it. Feel free to come back another day. We'll be back here on Tuesday. No show on Monday to do it all over again. And the rest of the week should be pretty smooth. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yes. Who's at fault on what? On a double lane road, I turned right on the right lane and someone turned left, not other left. What? Double lane road, I turn right on right lane and someone turned left. Not. So the person turning left is crossing your lane of traffic. They would be more at fault than you. You're both required to be making a safe maneuver, ensuring that your turns can be completed in safety. You can't just assume that you got the right of way, you're good, but they're going to hold more responsibility, and then it'll come down to semantics, or at least more detailed investigation. What determines the speed limit? Why do we stay at 60 when in some cases the road is entirely empty? Because it's the speed limit. It's not based on the volume of traffic. It's based on what is determined as a reasonable speed for you to go. 60 is fine. We're reducing speed limits that are 60 to 50, 50 to 40, 40 to 30, because slower is better. Regardless of how many vehicles are on the road, slower is better because you can respond to changes up ahead and adapt so that you don't end up hurting anybody, mostly pedestrians. So it really depends on where you are. But slower is where that we're going, not faster. What event am I going to attend next so I can meet you in person? That's a good question. I went for dinner last night. Somebody met me yesterday. They happened to be sitting next to me, and they're like, I follow you on TikTok. It was really funny. And it was very nice to meet them. If you're watching, it was a pleasure meeting you and your girlfriend, or meeting you both, because she doesn't have TikTok. He has TikTok, so he knew who I was, and she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, it was not, so I don't know. But when we do the next public event, I'll be sure to let everybody know. Can I use hand signals to indicate direction instead of car signals if they are working? Yeah, as long as it's daytime and your waving arm is visible, those are lawful directions. But why would you not just use your car ones? Because while it's lawful, you might end up in a collision because no one's looking for your hand waving out the window. It's lawful, but it's not ideal. And it's entirely different if you have no other option. But yeah, so many people can't figure out how to drive without their cell phone, and they do. You're just adding things to the mix by going hand signal. But it is legal. If you are, however, in a right-hand drive vehicle without functioning traffic signal or indicator signals for right and left or braking, you must have a sign that says right-hand drive. And the reason you need to have that sign is to let people know what window to look for the waving arm to provide indication. What is this? Thoughts on increased truck training laws to prevent collisions involving unskilled repeat offenders. I think everybody needs more training. Truck, car, motorcycle. I think we should have mandatory training and regular requalification for everybody. and bicycle riders and skateboard riders and rollerblade. I think everyone needs more traffic safety, and I think there should be legislation to control certain vehicles to being on the road. I don't think that bicycles should just be everywhere just because they're bicycles. I think they're vehicles. But not everybody agrees with me. On a 2-lane road, okay. On a 2-lane road with no oncoming car other than emergency vehicle, do I have to pull over to the side? Yes, 2-lane road is an undivided highway, and everybody in both directions must pull over if it's divided by a painted line. If it was divided by a barricade, then no, you wouldn't have to pull over for the oncoming traffic. But the truth is that regardless of whether or not you think that they can get past, you are legally obligated in an undivided painted line scenario. Waterloo Regional Police is on social media, but they have comments off for everything. There are many police services who believe that that is the way to go. I mentioned it earlier, but social media is more than post and ghost, and it is something that requires engagement. And if those comments are on and they're not capable because they don't have a unit that's large enough, or they whatever the reasoning is, they choose to turn off the comments to avoid people posting nastiness and negativity. That's up to them why and how, but it's because it's a lot of work to respond to comments, and I do my best, and I can't keep up with them. So, and that's just me. You need a team of people to do it properly. I don't know why they turned it off altogether, though. What is the passing limit when driving by an officer that has someone pulled over on a 2-lane road? You are to slow down and move over to any free lane. You're talking about a 2-lane road, so you have to slow down significantly to pass safely. And there's no specific speed, but if you buzz the tower, expect to be pulled over and charged. I've charged a number of people for this. It's all perspective. The guy standing on the road, working, helping someone, you doing the speed limit is tremendously fast. But I can't give you a specific number. Slow down as much as possible to safely move. And I would do, if you're doing 60, I'd be doing under 30. Doing 60 and going to 50, that's not slowing down. Not significantly enough to matter. So what happens if people are speeding 120 an hour and they're posted 90? It means they get a ticket for 30 over. This is simple math. You're not allowed to speed. I would charge someone all day long for 120 and a 90. Without reducing it, without question, while also looking for every other offense in the car. Not everybody is the same. Some people would say, I only pull people over 31 over the speed limit. Depends on the officer. But I think I pull people over for 20 over. You're not allowed to speed. I don't know why people don't get this. What is this? Rail stop. Stopped and looked both ways and crossed. Ticket as train me be over. What? I don't understand your question on the rail stop here. What is this question? Are you guys working right now to the traffic lights doing it for you until you get up? Don't know what your comment means. Is there a no chase law in Ontario? No. It's not a no chase law. It depends on what we will do. Because it's all about factoring or determining the risk. We have to take public safety into consideration. And as you recently saw, a motorcycle dum-dum was running and lost control and got hurt. Why? Because they were doing silly things. We don't want to push people to lose control. We prefer they actually follow the law. But if that person was, an armed and dangerous person, we'd probably be chasing them. So depends. Everything depends. Gillis says, there is no law against being name chased. I like that. Who inspects cars, tires, oil changes? What? So who inspects cars for safety? Police officers can do that. We're empowered under the act. Tires, we would inspect to see if there's sufficient tread. Oil changes, not something we care about. If your engine blows up, that's on you. Okay, 11 o'clock. Douglas Allen, right on the cusp on the 11 o'clock, says, does that mean homegrown cannabis has to be in the trunk because there's no original package? Yes. Sealed from factory from cannabis stores is sealed, and you cannot seal your own. Ziploc doesn't count. If it is homegrown, there are limits as to how much you can carry, and of course, it has to be out of reach of the driver and passengers. It's 40 seconds after 11 on this timestamp, but I'll still go to it. Can someone break a car window if they see a dog trapped in the car on a hot day? Call 911. Obviously, try doors first. Will people be prosecuted for doing it? It's possible. I think that's reasonable, but I can't authorize you to do it. Police are the people who are authorized. Fire are authorized. That's a 911 thing. That's, yeah. It's also not so easy to break a window. Just saying, you could injure yourself, and the dog could injure you. A lot of things to think about. If you call 911 and you offer that as an opportunity, that you have the tools, skills, and abilities to break that window, and you let the dispatcher know that that's something you're willing to do, and they say, yeah, go for it, that's another level. Cover yourself. You don't want to be in a situation. That's not to say it's not worthy. It's just that know that there could be consequences. Oh, Robert Holmes is currently in Japan, and the police drive around with emergency lights on. Doesn't make sense to me. Fun fact, you need an international license to drive in Japan. You cannot use your Ontario license card. So, fun fact, you need an international license in conjunction with your Ontario license. And that is that is the same thing here. Like we need, for many countries that don't have English characters on their license, and it's not in English, international license is only a translation card. That's all it is. Like CAA, the Canadian Automobile Association, is the organization for Canada who issues international driver's license. Maybe that's only for Ontario. I think it's for Canada. In any case, that has absolutely no legal standing other than it's a translation card. And yes, people need it, but you couldn't leave your Ontario license at home and then use it. And likewise, if someone gave me an IDP, international driving permit, from another country, I would not accept that unless they had their actual original as well. But Robert, enjoy your time in Japan. I'm jealous. I wish I was there. I went there once. I never got out of the airport. It was just a hopper flight. I think it was on the way back. Oh, and you said they drive around with the lights on. Israel, they also drive around with the lights on all the time. Okay, dad joke. I got arrested for stealing a whole set of encyclopedias. I said to the police, wait, I can explain everything. That was a good joke. I like that one. And now there was one pinned earlier. Didn't I? I thought I had another one from you earlier. Oh, well. Dad jokes. We have dad jokes that were conveyed from TikTok. All right. What do you call a wizard who's good with ceramic? Harry Potter. I'll accept that one. I don't trust trees. Why? Because they are so shady. I don't know. I'm so good at sleeping that I can do it with my eyes closed. Okay. Any other dad jokes that I miss? Someone asked about police taking vehicles in emergency, and apparently it says they can commandeer your vehicle or your vessel if needed. Yeah, I don't know. I can't obviously quote the code, but that's what every movie says, so it must be true. But it's as per the criminal code. Cool. I'm gonna look that up now. What is this? Okay. Good advice. Take a plane from home to the bar. Yeah. Thanks for the. Oh, Kayla says thanks to Leo Wife for the service. Sean and Sarge, of course. Scrolling through. What is this one? A video about York Regional Police taunting the person whose car they. Oh, there will. I think we need more of that kind of stuff. I think when you have someone who is a violator, who is creating content, who's actively involved in dangerous activity, and it is so brazen as to post about it on social media. I think their response was wonderful, and I think we should do way more to target these people who are putting people's lives at risk. That driver deserved everything they got. Let's see here. Okay. I am at the end of the show. Yeah, we covered everything. I think I caught everything. If I missed your stuff, I apologize. My goal to always get everybody, but it doesn't always work. This is the song that I didn't play this week. It's the first time being played this week. Last time being played this week. It's the traffic song. Enjoy, and I'll be right back.
safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
I missed that song. Okay, two things. One, no show on Monday. We're back on Tuesday because I got stuff and things to do that don't involve work. Somebody wants to know how many donuts today. I don't know. They keep thinking that cops and donuts are a thing. I prefer chicken wings, and I haven't had any of those. Is it true that it's illegal to listen to police radios in Canada if they're unencrypted and you can actually get access? Then there's nothing illegal about it. We have encrypted stuff, and we have trunking systems, and the combination of that makes it difficult and unlawful to crack. What else? I think that's everything. Oh, no, there's a question here on Instagram. Can I laminate copies of my ownership and insurance rather than originals on my motorcycle to keep the original safe? Insurance documents are simple. You get multiple copies, keep a copy in your wallet. Ownership, you can have a photocopy of both sides of the document on you. You don't have to have the original with you. Don't laminate it necessarily, but you can carry a photocopy, true copy, both sides, and have to have your original one. Is having a police light illegal? Yeah, you can't have police lights on your vehicle. Yeah, that's going to be an issue. Yeah. That's it. That's all. I'm out of here. I'll download this and post it as a podcast afterwards. And I think I have to put yesterday's up too. In any case, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you. And I will see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Drive sober and be safe.